Hey class, we're going to continue with notes here today. This is day 2 of our new chapter here. So make sure you have your binders out, and we're going to be working on pages 11 and 12 today. All right, so make sure you have those binders out, have a pencil ready, and turn to page 11 in your binder. All right, it should be at the top here. We should see topic 2, real number notes. All right, we kind of have 3 ideas that we need to get down today before we can start practicing some problems. All right, so the first idea is order of operations. All right, so based on the pretest, we saw a lot of you understand what the order of operations are. All right, so we're just going to go over these. I'm sure you've seen all these before, right? So first we have P is for parentheses. All right, that P is for parentheses, so we have to take care of any operations within our parentheses first when we're simplifying problems. All right, parentheses also includes brackets. All right, so if we see brackets, those are also another form of parentheses. All right, so after parentheses comes E for exponents. So that's the next item that we need to simplify in our problem are our exponents. And after exponents, we're going to look at their M and our D together. Right? M and D, of course, means multiply and divide. All right, and those are going to be done at the same time. All right, we're going to do those at the same time in order of the problem. All right, so when we're working on the problem, when we're working from left to right, that's where we're going to take care of any multiplication and division at the same time. All right, and then the last, the A and the S, right, those are for your adding and subtracting. All right, so that means those are the last 2 operations that we're going to take care of in our problem. All right, and again, adding and subtracting are done at the same time in order of the problem. All right, so as we're scanning from left to right on a problem, we're going to take care of the adding and subtracting last. All right, so the next idea here that we're going to talk about is this idea of negative numbers. All right, so when we're adding a negative number, all right, you may have been used to seeing double signs, right? Like plus a minus is really the same thing as just subtraction. All right, the next thing here we have when subtracting a negative number, you can change it to a plus sign. All right, so if you have minus and negative, that's really the same thing as addition. All right, and then next one, we have a positive number. Right, so anytime we have a positive number and we're going to multiply with a negative number, our result will always be negative. All right, and the last idea here with negative numbers is that when we have a negative number and we multiply it with another negative, our result will always be positive. All right, and last, our third idea here is absolute value. All right, absolute value is seen with kind of these large bars. All right, those are absolute value bars. All right, when we see those bars, we got to think absolute value. And the definition of absolute value is going to be the distance away from 0. All right, so you can kind of think of a number line, right? How far is a number away from 0? And that's its absolute value. All right, it is always important to remember that distances are always positive. All right, distances will always be positive. That means whatever is inside the absolute value is going to turn out to be positive. All right, so now let's kind of combine these kind of 3 ideas, 3 concepts together, and let's perform some problems here. Let's do some operations here. All right, so example 1 here, it says perform the following operations with negative numbers. All right, so A, we have a -7 plus a -8. All right, and we're going to add those together, and it's going to become more negative, so we're going to get -15 when we add those 2 numbers together. All right, example B, we have a -17 plus 12. All right, we have a negative plus a positive, and my negative's bigger, so my answer is going to be negative. And then 17 minus 12 is 5, so we get -5. In example 3 here, or C here, excuse me, we have 13 plus a -6. All right, again, we're adding a positive with a negative. My positive is bigger, so my answer is going to be positive, and I'm just finding the difference between 13 and 6, and that's going to be 7. All right, example D here, it reads -5 minus 6. All right, -5, take away 6 more, that's going to give you -11. Example E, we have 20 minus a -29. All right, so here we have this minus a negative. All right, so this is really saying 20 plus 29, and 20 plus 29 more is going to give us 49. All right, letter F, right here we have a little exponent, right? That little 2 up above my -3 is an exponent, all right? And that's going to tell me how many of my bases there are, all right? But -3 to the second power means -3 times another -3. And we know that a negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 3 is 9, so this gives us a positive 9. All right, in example G, we have a -3 times a -12. Well, again, we have a negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 12 gives us 36. Letter H, we have 4, a positive 4 times a -10. Well, we have a positive times a negative, so we know our answer is going to be negative. And then 4 times 10 is simply 40. All right, and our last one here on this page, we have a -12 divided by a -3, right? This little fraction bar really means divide. So here we have a negative divided by a negative. That follows the same rules as negative times a negative. So that's going to be positive. And then 12 divided by 3 just gives us 4. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too bad here. All right, we're going to continue on our next page here. All right, so let's turn the page to page 12. And now we're going to do some order of operations stuff here. All right, again, remember, it's always parentheses first, then our exponents, and then we're doing multiplication and division at the same time. And then lastly, any sort of addition or subtraction is going to be our last operation that we're going to perform. All right, so example 8 or example 2, letter A, we have 20 minus 10 plus 2. All right, we're always going to work from the left to the right, and we're going to take care of one operation at a time. So we have 20 minus 10. Well, that gives me a positive 10. I'm going to bring down this plus 2, and now I have 10 plus 2, which is going to give me 12. All right, letter B here, we have 12 plus 18 divided by 3 times 2 minus 1. All right, again, I'm going to scan. I'm going to work from left to right. I don't see parentheses. I don't see exponents, but I see some multiplication and division. All right, since we're doing these together, I'm going to do whatever I see first in the problem, which is 18 divided by 3. I need to take care of that operation first. Well, 18 divided by 3 gives me 6. So I'm just going to carry down everything else. 12 plus 6 times 2 minus 1. All right, now, again, I'm going to work from left to right. I see an addition, a multiplication, and subtraction. I'm going to take care of the multiplication next. All right, 6 times 2 gives me 12. And again, I'm just going to carry everything else down. All right, now again, I'm working from left to right. I have an addition and subtraction, right? Of course, I'm going to take care of the addition first because it comes first. So 12 plus 12 is 24. And now I just have 24 minus 1, which gives me 23. All right, example C here, right? It looks a little different. We got a fraction. We got 20 minus 10 on top over 3 plus 2 on bottom. All right, so if we have a fraction, right, we take care of the top and we take care of the bottom, and then we're going to simplify that. All right, so on my top, I have 20 minus 10. Well, that's going to give me 10 on top. And on my bottom, I have 3 plus 2. Well, that's going to give me 5 on bottom. All right, now I'm dealing with 10 divided by 5. Well, I know 10 divided by 5. That gives me 2. All right, so anytime we're dealing with fractions, you take care of the top as much as you can, you take care of the bottom as much as you can, and then you go ahead and simplify what's ever left over. All right, let's try D together. All right, D, we have 4 minus 1 squared plus 8 minus 1 divided by 4. All right, we have a lot of operations going on. All right, but we're going to do it in order. All right, so we always take care of parentheses first, meaning whatever inside of the parentheses we have to do first. So inside my parentheses, I have 4 minus 1, which is 3. All right, again, I'm just going to do one step at a time for now. And I'm going to bring everything else down. All right, so now I have an exponent. Well, parentheses, exponents are next. All right, 3 to the second power just means 3 times 3, which gives me 9. And again, I'm just going to copy everything else down. All right, now I have 9 plus 8 minus 1 divided by 4. All right, well, now I have to take care of this division here. All right, so we have division. We have to take care of that next, right? 1 divided by 4, we're just going to leave it as 1/4. So we have 9 plus 8 minus 1/4. All right, and sometimes in math, these problems are not going to come out perfectly even, and that's going to be okay. All right, so now we have 9 plus 8 is 17 minus 1/4. All right, if I have 17 and then take away a fourth, that's going to give us 16 3/4. Right, which is the same thing as 67/4. All right, so now why don't we pause the video and you guys try letter E and let us know what the answer should be. All right, let's see how we did. We have 7 minus 3 divided by 2 plus 6 times 5 minus 8. All right, so again, anytime we have a fraction, we want to kind of take care of that first, right? We want to take care of the top here. So we have 7 minus 3 on top, which is 4/2, plus 6 times 5 minus 8. All right, and we said that this fraction sign is really a division. All right, and I have a division, addition, multiplication, and subtraction. I got to take care of my division first. So we're going to do 4 divided by 2, which is 2, plus 6 times 5 minus 8. All right, so now I'm left with addition, multiplication, and subtraction. I got to take care of my multiplication next. So now we're going to have 2 plus 6 times 5 gives me 30 minus 8. All right, so I'm left with addition and subtraction. So again, I'm going to work from left to right. So 2 plus 30 gives me 32. And 32 minus 8 should give me 24. All right, and hopefully you got 24 as well. And if not, go check your work and see kind of where you made your mistake from. All right, now let's try this big letter F here. All right, we got a lot going on here. So let's see what we're going to do. All right, we have these brackets. All right, brackets, like I said earlier, we're kind of just like parentheses. So we have to work inside my parentheses first, or inside my brackets first. Well, I got a lot going on in here. All right, so I got an exponent, I got subtraction, I got some multiplication, I got more parentheses. All right, so for this type of problem, we're always going to work the inside most first and kind of work inside and then out. All right, so inside our brackets is an inner parenthesis, so we have to take care of that first. All right, so we're going to get 6 squared minus 3. All right, 5 plus 2 is 7. Divided by 8 plus 3. All right, so next we have our exponent, right? We have 6 squared here, so we're going to take care of that next, right? 6 times 6 is going to give me 36. Minus 3 times 7. Divided by 8 plus 3. All right, so again, I'm working inside my bracket still, right? I have 3 times 7 is going to be my next operation that I need to take care of. All right, so again, I'm working in my parentheses here, okay? So 36 minus 21, that's going to give me 15. All right, so now we have 8 times 15, right? When numbers are next to each other in math, we're going to be multiplied together. Divided by 8 plus 3, I'm going to take care of this multiplication here. So 8 times 15 should give me 120. Now I have divided by 8 plus 3. So now I have my division. 120 divided by 8, that brings it back down to 15. And now I just have 15 plus 3, which gives me 8. All right, it's a lot of work, a lot of steps. So just take it one step at a time to get your solution here. All right, last examples here. We got example 3. All right, we got a bunch of absolute value problems here. All right, these will be quick, right? Again, remember, absolute value is the distance from 0. All right, so my absolute value of 4 is just going to be 4. Letter B here, we got the absolute value of -3, means how far away is -3 from 0, and it's just 3 units away. All right, letter C, absolute value of 0. Well, 0 is 0 units away from itself. All right, D is interesting, right? So here in letter D, we have a negative on the outside of my absolute value bar. All right, so we kind of want to treat absolute value bars like parentheses. So we take care of what's inside there first, and then we apply whatever is on the outside of it. All right, so the absolute value of 8 is just 8. And I'm going to bring down that negative sign. So here, my simplified expression is just -8. All right, for letter E, fractions are the same way, right? They follow the same rules of absolute value. So the absolute value of -2/3 is just +2/3. All right, letter F is going to be very similar to letter D here, right? This negative is on the outside, so it needs to stay on the outside. The absolute value of 8/3 is just 8/3. So that means my final simplified answer is -8/3. All right, letter G, we have negative absolute value of -1. All right, so again, take care of what's inside your absolute value bars first. So the absolute value of -1 is just 1. And I'm going to just bring down that negative sign. That kind of just stays out there. So my answer is -1. All right, so now we're going to perform some operations with absolute value. All right, so again, always take care of what's inside your absolute value bar. So we get the absolute value of -2 is just +2 times the absolute value of 5 is 5. So now I'm just dealing with 2 times 5, which gives me 10. All right, on letter E, same thing, right? We're going to take care of what's inside my absolute value bars first. All right, so here we have 5 plus 6. So I'm going to take the absolute value of that, which is 11, minus the absolute value of 4. Well, absolute value of 11 is just 11, minus the absolute value of 4 is 4, and 11 minus 4 is 7. All right, letter J, we have the absolute value of -4 minus 1 minus 8. All right, again, I'm going to take care of what's inside here first. Okay, so now we're going to get the absolute value. Well, -4 minus another 1 is -5. So now I'm going to take the absolute value of -5, which is +5. And now I can take away 8 from that, and that's going to give me -3. All right, why don't we pause the video here, and you guys try letter K. All right, let's see how we did here on letter K. So we're going to take the 7 minus 4, which is 3, and we're going to get the absolute value of that. And now we're going to subtract that from the absolute value of -1. Well, the absolute value of 3 is just 3, minus the absolute value of -1 is 1. So now we have 3 minus 1, which is just 2. All right, we're going to go ahead and skip letter L here and get to our last set of examples here. All right, this last part here says we're going to find the distance between two given numbers. And sometimes you might want to use a number line to help. All right, so A, we have to find the distance between 4 and 13. All right, so what that means is what is the difference between 4 and 13, right? So 4 minus 13. All right, but again, we said the distance, so that means absolute value. All right, so if you notice, I put some absolute value bars around 4 minus 13. All right, so that gives you the absolute value of -9, which is just 9. All right, and for letter B, I'm going to do the same thing, right? I want to find the distance between -5 and 2. All right, so that means I want to find the absolute value of their difference. All right, so here I'm going to throw in a big absolute value bar, and I want to find the difference of -5 minus 2. And that will give me the distance. All right, so -5 minus 2, that's going to give me -7. And the absolute value of -7 is +7. All right, and the last one here, letter C, I want to find the distance between -11 and -5. All right, well, for this example, I'm going to use a number line for this one. All right, so I'm going to start here at -11. All right, and I want to see, I got to get down to -5, all right? So at -11, I'm going to go to -10, -9, -8, -7, -6, and here we go, is -5, right? So how many units away, right? How far did I have to go? Well, let's see. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the distance between -11 and -5 is 6.